Hello. Today I'd like to go over month calculations. And why are these important? Um, you can use month over month calculations to dynamically design your dashboard so that it's always going to point to the current month of data and figure out the percent difference of the previous month and so on. So there's a series of calculations you need to do in order to find out this information. And a great site to go to is Tableau Public. And Luke Stanky has a Tableau Public dashboard that has a cheat sheet for some of these calculations. So if you want to go beyond just the month over month and maybe do week over week or quarter over quarter, you can check out his Tableau Public dashboard. But let's go ahead and go to our blank Tableau workbook here and start with creating the first calculated field. So I'm going to go ahead up here and select Create Calculated Field. And the first thing I'm going to do is figure out our latest date. So what is the latest date in our workbook, or the maximum date in our workbook? So I'm going to select max and put order date right here. And I could just, this will figure out what is the maximum date, but I'm going to change this to a fixed calculation, or fixed LOD expression, just so you can be aware that these are out there and that they are very helpful to use. So this is a fixed max order date, so it's always going to point to the maximum date in your data set. So today is December 13th, so it's going to bring back December 13th and so on. So Tableau is also helpful because it has all of the functions embedded right here on the right hand side. So you could look up max. Oh, max sales is right there. So I'm going to click on OK on this calculated field, and I'm going to put it on our rows shelf and change it to a exact date, which is going to change it to continuous, which always results in an axis in our view. But I'm going to select the down arrow again and make it discrete so you can see the maximum date in our data set, which is 12/31/2014. Yes, an older version of the sample Superstore data set. So that's the first calculated field we're gonna create, and this is latest. 1 second. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a calculation looking at the latest month. So you can right click on that latest date calculation and go to Create Calculated Field. And this is just another little tip because it will automatically put this latest date field inside of your new calculated field. You can see it's got latest date here. So I want to figure out the latest month. So I'm going to do a date trunk to figure out the latest date. And if you aren't sure what date trunk does, you can always search it on this right-hand side, and it gives you an explanation and sample syntax of how to create your calculated field. So for this, I need to specify that I'm looking at the month of my latest date. So Tableau, look at this calculated field here and give me 12, basically. Give me the number 12. So if I were to click OK on this formula as it is now, it is formatted as a date time. See that little tiny little clock on this? You could go ahead and then change the data type from date time to a date. And what that does is if we click on edit, it puts this date, it nests it inside of this date formula. So we're going to just go ahead and nest our future calculations in a date, so we don't have to right click and do that date time format. So I'm going to click OK on this. So this figures out that 12 number. Well, how do we get the previous month? So I am going to right click on that latest date formula again and select create calculated field. And this is going to be previous month. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a date add formula. So date add, and the way that a date add works is you need to specify the date part, which is month here. Then you're going to do an interval. So I'm going to do subtract 1. So hey Tableau, give me the number 12, but then subtract 1. And that's going to be my previous month, and that's going to be 11. So then I'm going to nest this inside of a date formula. So this is going to give me the previous month or the number 11 value, but it's formatted as a date, not a date time. So I'm going to click OK on this. So we figured out the latest date, the latest month, the previous month, but what about year? Can we get the latest year? Yes, we can. So we can right click on latest date again and select create calculated field and call this latest year. And we're looking at that latest date. We're going to do a date trunk again because we're extracting just the year now from that latest date formula instead of the month. We're saying give me the latest year. So that is another way to extract the year. All right, Dawn, well, what does this mean? How do we start to get values now? Another thing I like to do is I like to group by folders up here in the upper left-hand side to kind of organize my date calcs because there will be a lot of them. So group by folder, and then I like to click latest date, hold my shift key down to select all of these at the same time, and put them in a folder. So latest date, latest month, latest year, and I'll create a folder called date calcs. And I will put them in that field along with previous month. I'll just drag previous month in there. So how do we get the sales value? So Tableau will always point to that most recent month and give me that sales value. So I'm going to create another calculated field, and this is going to be an if then else statement. So this is going to be sales for the current month per year. All right. So I'm going to say if date trunk year, and I need to look at a date field here. So I'm going to pull order date. So hey, if the date trunk of the year is equal to the date trunk year of the latest year. All right, so that's the year value. Now I want to get the month value and the date trunk month of the order dates is equal to the date trunk value of the latest month. So year first, then month, then give me sales. And that's it. That's going to return the sales for the current month in the current year. All right. So let's go ahead and click. So order date equals latest year, order date equals latest month, and then give me sales. All right. So now I'm going to click OK on this. And well, what does this mean? Well, let's look at this, shall we? Let's go to a new sheet and put order dates on the columns shelf and select month. So we have all the different months here. Let's go ahead and put order dates on the rows shelf, and let's select day. Okay, so we've got day, month. All right. But we also want to filter by the most recent year. So let's go ahead and put order date to the filter shelf and select years and then select next. And I'm going to check that 2014 or filter the latest date value when the workbook's open. That's also an option. And I'm going to click apply. So I want to pull just that data for December in my calculated field. So I'm going to drag sales and put it on text. So I want to capture, okay, just these values. So if I put sales, current month, current year onto the canvas here, look at this. It's giving me just the sales value for that latest month of December. And I'm going to move this measure names to be on the columns shelf. And I'm going to add a filter so we can just limit it to, 3 months. So I'm going to put order date on the filter shelf, select months, and then select next, and select the last 3 months. So we have a much more condensed view of this visualization. So sales and then current month. Well, what about the previous month of data? All right, so let's go ahead and duplicate that sales for the current month and current year, and let's edit it to get the previous month and current year. Well, the caveat to previous month is that we want to get up to today's date for accurate percentages. So since today is the 13th, we would want November up to the 13th. So you have to add a day stipulation to this. You have to add another level of granularity and say, and date trunk, but then this time we're going to say day and look at that order date, all right, equal to date trunk day of that latest date. And not equal to, sorry. We're going to do less than equal to. So that way it'll be up to the 13th. Then give me sales. Sales previous month and current year. So we have our, putting in notes in here, month, and then this is looks up to current date. Previous month looks up to current date. And then this is the year calculation. Okay, so I'm going to click OK on this, and I'm going to now drag this to our field. And Dawn did something incorrect. Order date, latest month. Dawn needed to put previous month here. So previous month, swap out latest month with previous month. There we go. So make sure to change this one right here to the previous month. So it can get a little tricky right here. So we can see, okay, it equals the previous month values here. And if we removed our year filter here, we could see that this, because it's discrete, is adding all of the years together for that month. But our current calculated fields are always going to point to the current year. So if we duplicated this sheet and removed the day granularity, we could see that we've got like these totals for December and November. Well, now that you have these calculations, you can then figure out the percent change from November and December for the current year. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's create a calculated field for month over month. So we're going to call this percent sales diff MOM for month over month. So the example formula that we're going to do for this is we're going to take the sum of the sales for the current month and current year, okay, and we're going to subtract these from the sum of the sales for the previous month and current year. and have that inside parentheses. So take the sales of the current month, current year, and then subtract it by the previous month, current year. Then we're going to divide it by the sum of the sales for that previous month, current year. So that'll get us the percent change. And Dawn's going to copy and paste it and put it right there. So this will be a percent change for November, December. Did we drop in sales? Well, obviously we did, because December is a much lower number than November. So let's click OK on this, and let's right click on it, and default properties, let's change it to a percentage. I'm going to go ahead and select percentage, no decimal places. So percent sales difference in month is percentage. So I'm going to click OK on this, and I'm going to go to a new sheet and put it on the text. So it looks like we dropped 19% in sales. So we figured out the sales difference. But what about some of the other measures like profit? Well, now that we've created these calculated fields for sales and current month and previous month, we can duplicate these and figure out profit. So you did the hard work the first time. Now it's easier to get the other calculated fields. So I'm going to click Edit on this duplicate and call this profit for the current month and current year. And I'm going to drag profit onto sales. So this will be, instead of sales, this says profit. So give me the profit. Point to the current year, current month. Give me the profit for that. So that'll give me that total number. Then I can duplicate the sales for the previous month and current year and do the same thing. I can right click on that calculation, click Edit, and say profit, previous month and current year, and swap out that sales value with profit. So once again, I can figure out the drop in percentage now for profit. So we're going to be down because we're down in sales. So let's click OK here and duplicate our sales diff month calculation, and then click Edit and swap these out with our new calculation. So instead of sales diff month, we're going to be profit diff month. So OK, profit current month and current field, and all I did was just override that. Then profit previous month current, and then this is going to be profit previous month and current year, and then click OK on that. So we've got the difference in sales. We're going to get the difference in profit now. So we're going to drag profit on here. We have a negative 12%. And notice it's already formatted as a percentage because we duplicated a field that had a default format. So it now has a default format of percentage. So that is month over month for sales and profit. But if you get into something like we're counting the distinct values of, orders, because quantity is something, but if you wanted to get the distinct count of orders, you would use okay, count distinct on order ID, because I want to know the number of orders that we had for a month. So that's where it gets kind of a little tricky. So if we duplicate sales for current month and current year and click Edit, all right, so we want orders for the current month and current year. All right. So if we put order ID here, order ID is a dimension. So if we kept this calculation as it is, what it's going to do is have all of our order IDs in a sheet. So if I click on OK and I went to a new sheet and tried to put this on text, oh my goodness, it's adding all of our order IDs for the current month. We don't want that. We want to change this to a measure. So we can edit our calculation and nest it inside of a count D. Because if we try to put count D here, it's not going to work. it's going to give us the error message of cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate comparisons, which is the most annoying error message you will get. If you haven't gotten it yet, you will, especially if you're getting into more calculations like this. So you have to nest the whole formula inside a count D expression there. So count D and then put your if formula inside. Just a little bit of a helpful tip there. So I'm going to click OK on this, and we're going to get an error message on our view. So we're going to remove this and then redrag it onto the canvas now that we've figured out our orders for the current month, current year. We also have to change that orders current month, current year to continuous value because it's now showing blue. So be aware of your colors of your values here. So I'm going to put orders current month, current year. We have 235. And we can duplicate this value now to get our previous month and current year. So once again, Don is going to remember to switch out those other ones. So remember latest date, we're going to do latest month, we're going to do previous month, because Don forgot to do that last time. And we also need that day granularity. So we need that and date trunk. Remember, we have to do that day, comma, order date is equal to less than equal to zoom in date trunk day and then latest date again. So that is how you get the orders, because it's a dimension, profit, sales. So just wanting to go over those. So now that we've got orders current month, current year, orders previous month, current year, we can now do the sales diff. So we can select duplicate, we can select edit. And this part is tricky too. So now that we're doing orders instead of sales, we can't do sums around these. We have to just strip them out to have orders current month, current year, orders previous month, current year, and orders previous month, current year, and it's going to yell at us. See how it's highlighting the sum there? We got to get rid of those sums and just have the straight values, because we already have an aggregation inside of the formula, so it'll be fine without that. So what is the drop in orders? What is the drop percentage from the previous month to the current year? So we're going to click OK on this and go to a new sheet, and our orders are dropped 7%. So thank you for watching. This is a longer video than some of my regular videos, but just because of the complexity of date calculations, and I would suggest grouping them now by a new folder. So like this would be your orders calc. Another way just to be kind to your future self and like have all of your orders organized, then have a different calculated folder for all of your profit and so on. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something today. I hope you have a great day.